Welcome to the Fit Dad Nation podcast, forging strong fathers and raising a stronger generation. It's time to get up or shut up with your host, Steve Roy.
Hey guys, this is Steve Roy here, host of the Fit Dad Nation podcast. Welcome to the show. Thank you for listening. So today is Monday, December 14th. We are just over 6 weeks into our 75-day challenge, or 75 hard. And we had our call last night. We do a weekly call, and some of the results have just been amazing. A few that come to mind. We've got a guy, Steve, that is down like 23 pounds and feeling phenomenal. We've got another guy that's down 17 pounds. And then another one that was on the call is down like 10 pounds. So, again, I talked about this last week a little bit, and it's not really a weight loss challenge. If you know anything about the 75 hard, it's more of a mental toughness challenge, put on by First Form, Andy Frisella. And so, just the byproduct of doing good things to your body will reward you. And I've talked about this over and over, is you get consistent with some basics. And for this challenge, it's working out twice a day, sticking to your diet with no cheats, drinking a gallon of water, reading nonfiction, and taking a progress photo. So these are all positive things. And so once you start incorporating that consistently, and again, about 6 weeks in, you're going to see results. And so for a lot of the guys in the group, in the inner circle, their goal is to lose body fat, and to see that. And especially the guys that have lost, 15, 20 plus pounds, they feel like a different person. And this is just the beginning. We're halfway through this. So we are getting ready to kick off another wave of the 75 hard. We started this one November 1st. We're going to be doing it again January 1st. So if you're thinking about it, if you heard about it, if you're interested in it, I would say take a look. You can find out more about the Inner Circle, where we do all this, at fdnic.com. And if you are planning on doing the 75 hard, I would at least, tell you this. Find an accountability partner or group before you start. It's going to make it much, much easier. There are going to be times, we've had a lot of guys in the group restart the challenge at least once, sometimes a few times, because, life gets in the way. Things come up, you forget. I've forgotten. I've had to restart. So it's not an easy thing. And so having a support group can really make a big difference. So take a look at that if you're interested in taking on this challenge. And honestly, I really do think it's a game changer for a lot of guys. So what I want to do today is just share something that's personal. And I talked about this a little bit last week on my show. So back in early 2015, I was having some elbow pain, which I assumed was some kind of tendonitis from just training, because I've been training, consistently for many, many years. So I finally had it looked at, and I had a couple scans, and they found a pretty good size mass in my arm that was sitting right on my humerus bone, which is the main upper arm bone. And so they sent me over to Mount Sinai Hospital in Baltimore, into the cancer wing, just to see what it was. And I met with the director of oncology, and they determined that it was something called PVNS, which is a kind of a rare tumor, a very aggressive form. So anyway, it wasn't cancerous. I remember him telling me that if it had been, I would be dead, because it had been there for long enough to basically start eroding my bone. So the tumor itself was eating through my humerus bone. So scheduled the surgery, had the surgery, removed the tumor, and it was fucking horrible. And I know there's a lot of people going through a lot worse stuff. But I've never been in the hospital. I've never had a broken bone. I've never had any health problems. So this happening 6 years ago was brand new, and I don't do well with pain. Like I think a lot of guys are kind of wimps when you're sick. You whine a lot, that kind of stuff, and I think that's kind of me. I'm just not that tough when it comes to this stuff. So I was a mess. I just remember the pain was excruciating for a while, and even the meds, giving me the meds didn't help enough, and it was just so uncomfortable, and having to sleep on one side with your arm kind of bent at 90 degrees. That's probably for a good month. Obviously no use of the arm and no training, of course, there. And so, yeah, I mean, it did. It completely sucked. And fortunately, it healed pretty well. I still have about, I guess about a 3 or 4 inch scar on my elbow, outside of my elbow, but it's fine. And it's always hurt. I don't have full extension of the arm. There's a bunch of arthritis within the elbow itself too. And I just figured, it's just one of those things I'm going to have to deal with. So I went to go see the doctor once as a follow-up. We looked at a couple things, and I just didn't go back. I just assumed, what? I'm sure it's fine. I mean, I don't feel any different. The arm has plenty of strength. I've been working out pretty hard. Pain is always there a little bit, but, no big deal. But, my girlfriend has really been urging me to go have a follow-up appointment with him to see, just double check, because you never know. So I did 2 weeks ago. Had a CT scan, had an MRI, got all the stuff done, and showed up to the doctor's office 2 weeks ago, and he kind of walked in and said, so it's back. Like I knew, like he thought I knew about it, which I didn't. And I said, what do you mean? What are you talking about? He said, oh, you didn't know? Oh yeah, your tumor's back. Oh yeah, it's there again, and it's bigger. It's diffused, which means it's spread out throughout some more of the tissue. It's throughout your elbow, and yeah, we're gonna have to go get it. I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. Like I was in shock. Like I had no doubt that he'd go in. He'd say, "Oh, looks great. How's it feeling? Good. Okay, see you in 5 years." I thought 100% that would be the case. Unfortunately, it was not the case. He said this is something that's very aggressive that is likely going to return even after he removes it again. And just eventually, we're just going to have to keep doing it every handful of years. So that was not great news. I didn't take it well. I just didn't take it well. Actually, it'll be 2 weeks tomorrow. So we just decided to schedule the surgery as quickly as possible and get this out of the way. But yeah, I just have been kind of in a funk. Definitely lost my motivation to do much of anything at this point. Just realizing now what I have to go through again, and it's just very deflating. But more so, at 49 years old, I'll be 50 in July. I really just start thinking about my mortality, and this isn't something that's going to kill me, but I do think about what ifs. And so I wanted to share this because so many of us, myself included, we often think that we're untouchable, right? Nothing can hurt us. And yeah, I mean, look back at your 20s, maybe even your 30s, when you feel invincible, right? Maybe you don't have any injuries yet. You feel pretty good most of the time. You feel strong, like just nothing's going to touch you. But, little things start happening. For me, it was August. I had that crazy bout of vertigo hit me on the boat, and I was in the hospital and ER for the whole day and night, trying to figure out what happened to me, and then coming back a couple months later now to this, where I have to go in, and it's a 2.5 hour surgery, and I'll be under, and the recovery process is long, and just the pain, and then the atrophy that comes with it, and trying to rebuild all this, just to eventually have to do it again and again and again, potentially. It's hard to accept that this is a fact of life when you think, shit, man, nothing's going to kill me. It's very humbling, and it's very scary to me to think about these things. I'm just terrified of dying, and not because, it'll be painful or anything other than the fact that I won't be around for my kids. My girls are 15 and 12, and they need me, and I can't even imagine a world where they don't have their father. So, thinking about that, going into a hospital, it's not a major thing, but at the same time, to me, it's very major. I'm going into a big hospital with the director of oncology who treats cancer patients, and I'll likely have to go through radiation. And yeah, shit can go wrong. I mean, I had a friend, he was a coworker, and he was a great guy. I used to work with him at a financial institution. This was maybe 8 years ago. And he was only in I think he was in his late 40s, maybe even mid 40s. A couple kids. I know he had a young daughter. His wife worked in the office with us, and he went in for surgery for, I think it was his gallbladder or something. But anyway, something happened while he was in surgery, and he bled out and ended up passing away in surgery, and to get that news, and you're like, oh my God. I mean, this was a young guy with a full life ahead of him, and, a young daughter. And so you think about those things of, well, things can go wrong, right? I mean, obviously all this COVID shit doesn't make me feel any more comfortable, going into a hospital, but this is something that has to be taken care of before it, this thing could ultimately just eat through my bones in my arm, my elbow, and my arm bones. So it has to be handled. So, thinking about that, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty nervous, and I think, the reason I wanted to share this was because a lot of us live like we're untouchable. And you never know. Like, I don't want to be overly dramatic here, like trying to overplay this. But, we honestly don't know. I mean, I'm sure that, nothing bad is going to happen. I'd certainly like to think that. But we never know when, our day will be our last. I hear stories from friends that I have a friend who's a paramedic that tells me, some things that, you just never know. I mean, accidents happen, freak diagnoses of fatal diseases happen all the time. People are dying from COVID, and yeah. So I want you to listen to this, and appreciate what you have as far as your health. And if you don't have your health, and honestly, a lot of men in our community, the Fit Dad Nation, aren't living even close to their best. I mean, they're just not. And it's a mistake. You have to really take this seriously, because you're going to wake up one day and you'll be 60, 65 years old, and it's going to be too late. Like you're not going to be able to do the things that you want to do. You're going to have too many years behind you of poor health and poor lifestyle choices, and you're going to be stuck, and you're going to be wishing that you had done things differently. And that's one thing that I really feel really strongly about is taking care of yourself now, because, in 5 years, you're going to see the direct results from what you're doing now. Like, a lot of people get discouraged. They quit because they don't see results quickly enough. Why am I doing all this? Why am I exercising? Why am I, sacrificing the foods that I love and trying to eat better when it doesn't really matter? I'm not really seeing anything. And they go right back to doing what they want to do, which is, eating fast food, sitting on their ass, not moving enough, being stressed out all the time, not getting enough sleep. All those things just continue to pile up. And then one day, and it happens all the time, you guys know this, you're 57 years old, and boom, your heart decides to give out and you're done, right? It's crazy. Men are dying so early, so young. And even, healthy guys like me, yeah, I mean, we're dying as well. And you never know. So I want you to, think about this, and hopefully you don't have any issues. I mean, I was always that guy that never had any issues. I would look at somebody that had problems and be like, that, that's never going to be me. I'm never going to be in the hospital with these issues and dealing with shit like this. And, here I am now having to deal with something like that. And yeah, it sucks. And there's literally nothing I can do about it. It's not genetic. It's not attributed to anything. I've always lived a clean lifestyle. I've never smoked. I rarely drank, don't do drugs, never have. It's just my lifestyle is fine. I have really good genetics. My dad's 70, almost 75, and he's still exercising 3 hours a day. Feels great. So it's just one of these random things that just gets random people. And so, there's nothing I can do except accept it and move on. And, again, I'm not doing particularly well with this emotionally. I probably could be handling this better. Maybe I'm feeling sorry for myself. Maybe I'm just pissed off at whatever, but, I'll have to get over that and deal with it. But certainly not looking forward to the next, 2+ months of recovery, pain, sleepless nights, all that bullshit that comes with, a relatively big surgery. They're going to have to go in and slice my arm open again on both sides this time and scrape and cut all this tumor out. He did say that it's almost impossible to get it all, so there's a very high likelihood it will return. So, I'm not looking for sympathy here, nothing like that. I wanted to share this because I honestly want you to listen to this show and appreciate what you have as far as your own health. And then I want you to take it a step further and do something that's going to make it better. I've been coaching dads for a long time, and it's just something that's extremely, extremely common of guys they're not making themselves a priority. It's just we just don't do that. There's always someone that comes before us, and we just can't be at our best. We can't be the best husbands or best fathers. We just can't do that. And so, what I'm asking for you is, and I'm not asking you to join my program or buy my whatever. I'm just asking you to take a serious look at your lifestyle, your health, how you are showing up every day, how you're feeling every day, how do you feel about yourself. And if you're not happy with that, and you have to really look hard, a lot of guys have this kind of macho fake ego that's a wall that they put up, and they act like, they got their shit together. But when you start really breaking it down, most men don't. There's a lot of insecurity there. A lot of men our age, 40s and up, just don't feel good about themselves, and it's just a lot of reasons. And you have to start taking care of yourself, because once you really start focusing on your own health and well-being and mental and physical health, your life absolutely 100% will get better. You'll be a better husband, better partner, a better father, a better employee, and a better business owner, better friend. You're going to have more energy. You're going to feel better. You're going to have your confidence back. A lot of guys are just struggling with a lack of confidence just from being beaten down over the years and feeling crappy about yourself. And I tell you, once you start losing some of that fat and you start feeling actually good about yourself physically, and some guys, it's been many, many years, your outlook on things will change 100%. You're going to look in that mirror one day and you're going to say, damn, I haven't seen those muscles in 15 years. And you build on that, and then your wife notices, and then, your sex life starts getting better and things start to change, and it's a snowball effect. And before long, you're feeling great. And we have guys in our group right now. I'm having these conversations with these men right now. We had a call last night, like I mentioned earlier, and just listening to a couple of the guys talk about the difference. It's amazing what 20 pounds of fat will do, and I'm not a big scale guy. Like, I don't really like to judge success based on scale weight, but a lot of these guys do. And so, I take that into account, and it's awesome to hear the difference in their voice and their energy and how they're going about their day. And you can't put a price on that. I mean, it's just why I do what I do is I know what it's like to be a pile of shit. I was there for a long time. When I was married, I was a mess. After my separation and divorce, I was a mess. And it was through fitness. I mean, I just had committed to my health again and made myself a priority. And that's ultimately what led to the turnaround in my life and led to me starting the Fit Dad Nation in the first place, to help other dads. And that's where it all started. I honestly believe that. So, my hope is that you hear my story today, and you know, again, you don't need to send me an email. I do appreciate your thoughts and prayers and concerns. I really do. But it's not I'm looking for. I want you to hear this, and don't take for granted what you have, your time you have, and please just start taking care of your health, your mental health, and your physical health. Do something, anything that's going to make your life better in some way every single day. I don't care what it is. Don't have to go crazy with any particular challenge. You don't have to go all in, but you do need to do something, because honestly, you owe it to yourself, you owe it to your family to be a better man, a better father, and a better husband. You do. And I honestly believe that the way to do that, it's got to start with you and committing to yourself and making yourself better. So hopefully this helps, guys. I'll be recording another show next week as a kind of a follow-up, and hopefully share some insights, and hopefully we have some good news. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk next week.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, if you want more information, check out the Fit Dad Basecamp group on Facebook. And don't forget to stop by fitdadnation.com. Until next time, keep kicking ass and taking the next step. You can do this, Dad.